In chapter 3, we talked about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of fractions and mixed numbers. In this chapter, we're going to talk about addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division with decimal numbers. So we start with the decimal notation. Now, 1 over 10, the whole cubed, is 1 over 10 times 1 over 10 times 1 over 10. And that is 1 over 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1 over 1000. And this is called 1,000ths. So what does 1,000ths look like in decimal notation? It's 0.001. So that is 1,000ths. Now 1 over 10 to the 4th power, we do it exactly the same way, is equal to 1 over 10,000. So that is the same as 1/10,000ths. So that would be 0.0001. So this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that is the place value. So this first 0 after the decimal point is the tenths place. Next comes the hundredths place, then the thousandths place, and then the 10,000ths place. 1 over 10 to the 5th power, same thing. It's going to be 0.1234, and then in the 5th place we have a 1. So that is 100,000ths. So that would be 100,000ths. So the word name is 3, and in the denominator we have a 10, so that is 3 tenths, THS, and that is 0.3. So if the 3 sits in the tenths place, so that is the tenths place, always starts with the tenths, then the hundredths, then the thousandths, and so on. So that is 3 tenths. Now remember that the 100 in the denominator tells us that it is 21. Say it just the way you would say 21. 21, 21. But the denominator tells us that it is hundredths. And the way we write this, in the decimal form, it is 0.hundredths tells us there are 2 decimal places, and we need to make sure that the number after the decimal point reads 21. So it's 21, that's the number, hundredths because there are 2 decimal places. If it's 1 decimal place, it is tenths because that's the first place. So this is hundredths. Now this is 7 thousandths. So that is the same as, so let's see how many decimal place values. 0.10ths, hundredths, thousandths. So the thousandths tells us that there are 3 decimal place values in this number, and the number after the decimal point has to read 7, just a 7. Now the only way that this number can read a 7 is if you have a 0.007. So that's a 7. The number is 7. And then because of the 3 decimal places, it is thousandths. Now, think of what would happen if you put a 0.700, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So the number is going to end with thousandths, but remember what this is reading is not a 7, it's a 700. So this would be a 700, and then thousandths tells us, DTHS tells us that there are 3 decimal place values. 30 ten thousandths. So 30 10 thousandths. So 10 thousandths, let's see how many decimal places. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths. And it has to read 30, not 300, not 3000, but 30. And that's the only way we can write a 30 and put the zeros in front. So this is 30. If you look at the number after the decimal point, it reads 30. And 10 thousandths because it has 4 decimal place values. So this is in the decimal place value. So it's the first number after the decimal point. So it is tenths. THS. This is in the whole number part of the number. And if you read, the 4 sits in the ones place and the 3 sits in the tens place. TENS. THS comes in the decimal portion of the number. Now we have a 9 in the second decimal place value. So the first is tenths. The second is hundredths. HUNDREDTHS. The THS because it is in the decimal part of the number. Let's look at this one. We're looking at the whole number. Ones, tens, hundreds. It's not in the decimal part, so it is not hundredths, but it is hundreds. EDS because it's a whole number. This is ones, tens, hundreds, and then that would be thousands. And notice here it is tenths, hundredths, thousandths because we are looking at the decimal part. And I think we've done this. This is thousands. This is the ones place. It is in the whole number part of it. It's in the ones place. This is the first number after the decimal point. So it's in the decimal portion of the number. It is in the tenths. That is the first place value after the decimal point. It's tenths. So let's look at the first number, 4.26. 4 is the whole number part of it. 0.26 is the decimal part of it. So we have to separate the whole number and the decimal portion with the word and. Let's read the first part, which is your whole number. It's just a 4, so we write 4. Decimal point is replaced with the word and then there are 2 decimal places, so that's where the hundredths comes from, and the number after the decimal point reads 26. So it's 4 and 26 hundredths. Let's look at the next one. We have the whole number part, then the decimal point, and then, the decimal point, and then the decimal portion of the number. So we have the whole number. So let's read the whole number first. It's just a 23. So we have 23. The decimal point is replaced by the word and we have just 1 place value after the decimal point. So that is where the tenths comes from, and the number after the decimal point reads 4. So we have 23, which is the whole number, and So now we read the decimal portion of it, 4 tenths, because there's just one decimal place value. So here we'll look at the next one. 7 is the whole number, and so that's the word that replaces the decimal point. And notice that the decimal portion of the number has 3 decimal place values: tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 123 is the number after the decimal point, and the word is thousandths. So hundredths, THS, for 2 decimal places, tenths, THS, for 1 decimal place, thousandths for 3 decimal place values, and we keep going. 10 thousandths for 4, 100 thousandths for 5 decimal places, and so on.